Have a legal question for a Talking Law TV attorney? We offer 3 ways to ask it. Call 888-2037-LAW for our free viewer phone line. Email your question through the website at talkinglawtv.com or text your message to Talking Law TV. Get a link sent to your mobile phone by texting TLTV SAV to 82672. It's legal news you can use when you need it, anytime and any place.
Hi, and welcome back to Talking Law TV. I'm your host, Michael Short. Here in our third segment, we have a special guest, Cheryl Branch from Safe Shelter. Hi, Cheryl.
Hello there.
Thanks for being here today on the episode.
I'm so glad to be here.
And we're going to talk about Safe Shelter, which deals with domestic violence.
Domestic violence, a definition that I like to use is that it is a pattern of behaviors that one person uses to control another person. For Safe Shelter to access any of their services, our criteria is intimate partner violence, because there's a lot of family violence, mother, daughter, sister, brother. Ours is just intimate partner violence.
So does that mainly just man, woman?
It's anybody that's been an intimate partner. So it's heterosexual, gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, former spouses. As long as if sometime the couple had an intimate relationship, then they would qualify for any of our services.
Okay, and that's the service you provide. What do they do once they get there? What do you provide for them?
We provide, there are no fees charged for our services. So we have a 48-bed facility, and we provide everything they need while they're there: clothes, toothbrush. If they can't afford their prescriptions, we provide that. We have a wonderful clothes closet. We even have school uniforms, book bags for the kids. But they can come literally with the clothes on their back, and we'll take care of them.
Okay. And a lot of times people come as a result of immediate domestic violence, like that night. Will the police bring them?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And how about those with injuries? Do you ever have people show up who are bruised and battered?
We have people that come straight from the emergency room. Visible injuries are not required. Police reports are not required. We have folks that the abuse is verbal and emotional, which I think is just as bad. Somebody says they're going to kill you, and they describe the ways they're going to do it. Like a young lady that was in our shelter the other day, whose boyfriend said he would have killed her, but he just didn't know what to do with the body. And she didn't have any visible injuries, but I think that was much worse.
Okay, and we have an example here of what most people expect to be an abused person, but as you just pointed out, not always the case.
Exactly.
And then we have another picture I want to ask you about. What about if it's the man who's getting abused?
I am so glad you brought that up, because people have a lot of stereotypes when they think about domestic violence. One of them is that victims are poor, uneducated, and they probably live in public housing. And the other one is that it's always a woman. I mean, about 98% of the reported cases, the female's the victim. But we have an outreach program over on Bull Street, and last year they saw about 24 men. I'll be the first to say there are some mean, crazy, razor-toting women out there, but it's so hard for a man to call the police, because the first thing, even though our police officers in Savannah are probably among the best trained in the dynamics of domestic violence, just that urge to say, what kind of a man are you that you let a woman do this? But that's a man that is not going to hit a woman back.
And a lot of, if you were raised the way I was, you're not going to hit back.
No, you're not. But if you're like the client that I had that was 6'4", 300 pounds, he said, his wife tried to run over him. She threw a pan of hot grease at him. She broke a beer bottle and cut him up. And he said he was at the point, he was afraid he would hit her. But if the police came, there he is, and there she is, 4'11". He said, who do you think they're going to take to jail?
Right.
So we did a protective order for him, and he ended up getting custody of their baby.
And then a moment ago, we touched briefly on same-sex partnerships.
Yes.
And we have somebody here who's been roughed up a bit. Is it hard for them, in either case, either lesbian or gay, to come see you?
I think that when you have that community, you have domestic violence is very difficult for any victim to come forward. And when, for example, we had a man years and years ago that was in a same-sex relationship, and he was a professional here in town, had a beautiful home in the historic district, and he was not openly gay. And so his partner threatened to out him. And he was so fearful until finally he had enough, and his partner actually did go to his church and outed him. And the church said, we don't care, we love you. So you have some added things in that community that make it more difficult to come forward. So we are totally open to anybody that wants to come, but I think that it's very underreported in that community.
So it's psychological abuse as well.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And financial, I mean, people get just cut off.
I've worked with clients that lived at the landings, that lived on the beach, that lived in the historic district, and they cannot touch a penny of the money. And they don't stay for the money, but they, you know, you've got a powerful husband who says, look who I am and look who you are. I'll hire the best attorneys. I'll get custody of the kids, and you will have nothing. And that's a very fearful thing, because maybe he is a good dad, but he's an abusive husband.
Okay, you just mentioned children. So do you accept children at the shelter as well?
We take children with their mothers up to the age of 18, so we can have anywhere from newborns to 18-year-olds at any given time.
Yeah, the general common knowledge, or what people think, is that if you're the woman and you have the kids, you're gonna kick the husband out and you get the house. That's not always the case, is it?
No, no. And one of the things people always say is, you know, why does she keep going back? At Safe Shelter, you can stay roughly 90 days, give or take a little. Affordable housing in Savannah is scarce as hen's teeth. Child care is incredibly expensive. Unless you've got family support, marketable job skills, it is very difficult. It's easy in the shelter because we take care of everything for you. Then when you leave, then what? And sometimes it's just a matter of she doesn't have anywhere else to go, and she'll go back. And I think that's the hardest part, and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. We're a Band-Aid, and we have some wonderful social service agencies in Savannah, but all of us are Band-Aids. We can't be long-term financial assistance to someone.
How do people contact the shelter when it's time, or what do you do first?
I mean, first of all, you know, our number, 629-8888, is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You will never get an answer machine. A trained staff person always answers the phone. We get referrals from the police, other social service agencies. A lot of times family members will call us because someone in their family is being abused, and they're trying to get information to get them help.
Okay, and do you have to have a police report when you show up? Or
No.
Is your location secret?
Yes.
So you give someone the address. How do they get there?
If someone is coming, the police aren't bringing them, then we have them meet us somewhere, and then we bring them to the shelter. Because we've had situations where abusers have tried to follow the person to the shelter, and so we have to be really careful.
So have you had people who come to the shelter be dumb enough to tell the boyfriend or husband where they're at?
All the time.
And what do you do then?
We call the police, and we do not admit that person back because they've compromised the safety
Of everyone else as well.
And if they get in a position again where they need shelter, then we try to find them shelter in Hinesville or Statesboro.
Okay. And what do you do in the case? You said you had 48 beds?
Yes.
That if you're full?
And that happens, and right now we're full. If that happens and someone calls, then we'll call Hinesville or Statesboro, which are also certified shelters. We provide the transportation, and they can stay there until a bed becomes available in our shelter.
And do you have food is there as well? Do you feed them?
We have everything. We have food. We have snacks. We have everything.
So if these people are employed, do they leave their kids and go to work?
Yes.
And then just come back
Well,
to
I mean, they have to, they're responsible for their children. And sometimes we do a contract with a resident that is not working. If she doesn't have daycare, she can leave her child with another resident while she goes to work.
And their income, do they have to pay a portion of their income or anything to you at all?
Nothing.
So what do you ask them to do? Do they bank their money and wait so they can move
We
out?
encourage people to put 30% of their income into savings with us, so they have something when they move out for rent, utilities, and deposits. They don't have to do that, but they don't pay anything while they're there. And but we do, and we provide counseling. We bring people in. We do life skills. We try to do everything we can in those 90 days to help give them some better tools so that they can live independently.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Cheryl, for being here. If you have a question for Cheryl or any of the attorneys on Talking Law TV, you can contact our program through the website at talkinglawtv.com, or leave your question anonymously and we'll answer it on the air, or call our toll-free number at 888-203-7-LAW. That's 529. And we thank you for watching. I hope you'll join us again next week.
Closed captioning services provided by the Web Advantage. Design, hosting, and multimedia solutions for businesses like yours. Produced by Tandem Productions. Distributed by Legal Eagle USA.
Do you wish you had this?
Go when you're ready, Michael.
Okay. Is this 1730?